What were you when you were on the beach with the Navy SEALs? Did you realize that you were? But when you paid, apparently you probably also paid money for that
Oh yeah,
torture.
yeah. Paid to get abused by these men.
Yeah, and I'm sure it wasn't cheap either. It was real. It was
Yeah.
real money.
Yep.
Did you think, thank goodness I didn't do this profession, like as a real career, or did you have some regrets when you're sitting there?
That's a really good question. I think I dealt with that. This is kind of funny because when you have that much of your young life focused on one thing you think you're
Yes.
going to do that you end up not doing, uh, it didn't hit me until right before I was 34, turning 35. At that time that was the oldest you could be, to
Okay.
be in a
To
special
go in.
operations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like conceivably, I mean, granted, I don't know if I'm the human that could make it as a Navy SEAL. One of my buddies who's a Navy SEAL talked about talking to a bunch of professional athletes. And he's like, yeah, just open up with, hey, I understand you guys are a bunch of, you can feel bad about yourself because you couldn't be a Navy SEAL. So you had to take on professional sports. Like it's this. So I don't know if I would have made it.
Yeah.
But when I talked to my friends who did, I'm even more thankful because their bodies are just not the same. There's nobody I know who's a special operator that
Yeah.
is not in a position that they're dealing with some breakdowns in their body for the rest of their life. And so for that, I'm sad that I didn't get the opportunity to do all the cool things that you get to do in that kind of command. But by the same token, it's also a huge blessing because I actually have the opportunity to, not have my knees be shot.
Yeah. Well, you read, listen to David Goggins is that famous Navy SEAL, and you hear his story of basically had fractures in his legs, and he would literally duct tape a cast. He would every morning he'd wake up at like 3:30 and make a fake cast out of duct tape and socks so he could finish the course. I just think
Yeah,
he's got to be broken. I mean, I would imagine his body is a bit abused.
Even other Navy SEALs think that guy's crazy. That's when you've got some that he is that man is, having seen his interviews and he gives me hope for if I'm ever in a situation where I have to push beyond what I think my red line is that guy's going to be echoing in my ears.
Yeah, that is so true. That he posted not that was maybe a year ago or so. He was talking about some ultra marathon he ran on some crazy race.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point he took a wrong turn for like 5 miles. Then he turned around.
Running 5 miles is longer than most humans will run ever in their lives, and it was just a wrong turn for him, and he still had to track it back and finish the race
and finish some sort of like 50-mile race, right? And you just and he's they have a video of him when he was back on the right road. He was swearing and cursing, and he was just saying basically, there's no choice. I got to keep going. I think they closed the race on him. Like it was already nighttime, and he was just like, "F the world." You don't stop. You don't give up. Life is like this. And it was just really a recap. It was really beautiful because you can't make that up. Like you would think he would actually do this on purpose because he's that kind of guy, but he would never lie about something like that. So, it was an accident, it's real, and it's the real human. Imagine emotionally how badly you would, in my previous life, my younger, I would have let that just get in my head so badly. That would just put me off. The chemical dump would happen. You just would have a hard time recovering from that mentally. You just be so upset with yourself. And this guy was just like, that's not how it works.
Yep.
The goal is the operation, the commitment, stuff happens along the way, and you just keep going. Even if it's a giant mistake, don't give up.
It's a short saying, but the only way out is through is true more often than people would like to believe.
Yeah, the only way out is through.
Yeah. So it's like the only way out of the fire, got to run through the fire. The only way out of the snowstorm is you got to go through the snowstorm. The only way to get out of a physical altercation in the street is you got to go through that other human. And the only way to deal with that business situation in front of you is you got to you got to sit in it. You can't hide
Yeah.
from it. You got to get through the other side of that conversation. And I think that those are all equally. It's not a palatable thing for most people to think about, is the amount of difficulty and hard work that it takes to get to the other side, which doesn't mean it's physical capacity, but it might be, to your point, like the emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
And then how you balance, because I'm not, as you might guess, so much one of those people that really comes alongside and puts her arm around you and all that, but I will help enable you to fight what you're fighting.
Right. Yeah.
But my enablement is also going to probably include some feedback about who you are when you're trying to solve this. And as my business partner has told me, the most difficult part about Paul's feedback is he's right. And it's always the most sensitive thing he's going to point to that nobody else talks to you about. And so now I'm just very careful about who I give feedback to.
Yeah, especially if it's in your DNA to be truthful and honest, and observant. It's not everybody can take it. I think it's breaking it down to the, like you were saying, in the business side of getting into these troubles and difficulties, sit in it, and I think breaking it down into palatable pieces. Right. Well, how low can you break this down, and how small to just kind of do the first step, right? Take that first step and then, kind of claw your way out. Do you work with